You can do a lot with the subtool palette by default in ZBrush, but when you have a lot of subtools in your scene, things can start to get very complicated. Unfortunately, the features built into ZBrush for managing subtools is not very robust. In this video, I'll show you some features of a really great third-party plugin that can make life so much easier. Okay, we're going to be installing a plugin, so we need to close ZBrush to install it. So to get the plugin, you'll want to go to exoside.com. And there's a free version, so let's just go ahead and click on that. To download it, you want to put in your email address and click Submit. Okay, now you can pick the version that's right for you. I'm going to get the Windows version. Okay, now that it's done, let's open up this zip. And what we can do is just select these two files right here and copy them. So I'm going to hit Control-C, and let's go into our ZBrush installation location, Program Files, Pixelogic, ZBrush, and your version number, Z Startup, ZPlug 64, since I have the 64-bit version of ZBrush, and just Control-V to paste it in there. Okay, go ahead and start up ZBrush and load in the exercise file for this video. Okay, let's have our subtool palette open at the same time, just so we can see what effect it's having in both the subtool palette and the ZSceneManager. So now let's go to Z Plugin, go to ZSceneManager, and launch the ZSceneManager. And we just have to agree to some terms here. Should be fine. Okay, so what this does is it creates this floating palette. And if you have multiple monitors, I actually recommend putting this in a different monitor so you don't have to cover up any of your ZBrush interface. So let me move my model off to the side here. Basically what it does is it replicates all of your subtools that you have in your palette, and you get access to them over here. Now what's really great about this is that you can do so many more things with this than you can with the ZBrush subtool palette. So for example, you can group different subtools together. So let's say we want to group the helmet pieces. So there's the helmet brush, and then there's the helmet itself. Actually, let me turn on transparency mode so we can really see what I'm doing as I select these. So there's the helmet brush, the helmet, and the brush base. These all could be grouped into one. So just like any other organization tool or with your Windows Explorer or your Mac Finder, if you hold down Shift and click another one, it's going to select the one you had selected, the one you click on, and everything in between. Now we can right-click on this and go to Group Selection. And what it did is it put it all in a group. So now we could do things with this group, like hide the entire group at once. Now it's a little bit clumsy still because it's still relying on ZBrush's built-in functionality. So if you hide something, but that is selected anyway, it's still going to be visible. So if we switch to something else here, now you can see it hid all of those, and we could bring them back, right click, and we could go to Show Selected. Or actually we could just click on this eyeball here, and it brings it all back. Something else you can do is merge different things together. So let's say we want to merge the blouse with the snake wreath. So she's got kind of a wreath around her neck, and they're two different objects, but they're kind of in the similar place. So we could select these two. We could go to Merge Subtools, just letting us know we can't undo that. That's fine. And it combines it into one subtool. Something else that's really great about this is it has a feature that's kind of like Transpose Master, where you can combine different subtools into one and then sculpt on them together. However, it actually works faster and more efficiently than Subtool Master. So let's say I want to sculpt these different clothing pieces all together as one. So we'll just select them all, right click, and let's go down to Merge for Sculpt Paint. Okay, so now they're all combined into one, and now we could maybe get out our Move brush, BMV, and we could move these all together. And let's say we like where that is, so we could just right-click on this again and transfer Sculpt Paint to Subtools. And it's just letting us know we can't undo that, that's fine. And very quickly, we're right back where we were, but all of those changes that we made are applied to the original subtools. And this is actually better than Transpose Master because you can actually combine subtools at different subdivision levels. So if one of them is on a high subdivision level and the other is on a low subdivision level, they get combined together and it keeps those subdivision levels of detail. And then when you separate them, it doesn't ruin any subdivision levels or anything. It just works just like you'd expect it to. One more feature that's really great that I use all the time is something called visibility sets. So let's say we want to have everything that's on the shield, for example, hidden. And let's find that shield. Okay, there's the shield down there. So we've hidden everything on the shield. So now what we could do is right click and go to visibility configs, store new visibility config, and we'll just type in shield hidden. So now if we bring back the shield, if at any point we decide, oh, let's get rid of all of those different subtools that are part of the shield, we go back to right click, visibility configs, config shield hidden, and use. So that makes it so much easier than going through all of these different and hunting down which subtools you want to hide, which ones you don't want to hide. It makes it really easy to come back to any different combination of visibility on all of these subtools. So one thing to keep in mind about this plugin is that it's kind of a separate program that reads in what's in your subtools, but it doesn't always keep up to date perfectly. So sometimes you have to reinitialize things. So you might want to go into Z plugin and under hotkeys, go into update full tree command. And this will just kind of reset everything. So it just reads in all of the subtools and their names, just in case anything gets out of sync between the ZSceneManager and the subtool palette. So these are the functions that I use the most with the ZSceneManager. Feel free to poke around and experiment. Most of the rest of the features are pretty self-explanatory and are the kinds of things that you would expect to see in scene management tools. So it's very nice to finally have these abilities in ZBrush. Now, if you like this plugin, please consider buying the Pro version. The free version has a limit on how many subtools you can work with at once.